Hey there, alright, it's going to be video number 26, but video number 10 of module 2, and in this video we're going to be talking about the demarker indicator. Alright, so let's go over to our trading station and let's mark out the demarker right here. Alright, left click, drag and drop. Alright, set your style to black, leave your levels as they are, visualization OK, and then click on OK. Now you can just barely see these lines, so I'm going to change these lines over to a different color so those of us who might be colorblind can see them a little bit clearer. Alright, here we go. So here is the black line of the demarker, and here are some red dotted dashed lines to mark overbought and oversold areas. Alright, so overbought areas are areas when this 0.7, when that's broken, is to let you know that you're overbought, and when it comes down and revisits the 0.7 level, that's the time to go short. Alright, then as the market starts to come down a little bit, we're now into oversold territory, so anything below 0.3 is oversold. It basically means that a lot of people are selling, alright, more than their calculated amount. So it kept on going and kept on going to the point where it's oversold, and then the market went sideways a little bit, and then your buy signal is when this black demarker line penetrates through the 0.3 level. Okay, now this doesn't always ring true all the time, especially when you use smaller time frames. So the best bet is to again think outside the box and filter out any possible losses. So what I'm going to do is get the horizontal line tool out, and I'm going to place this horizontal line tool bang dead center of these two red dotted dashed lines, and I'm going to double click on it so I can bring up these little editing squares up, and then I'm going to right click on it and choose horizontal line properties, and I'm going to type 0.5 in there. Now 0.5 is basically half of that 0.7 and that 0.3. It's the midway point. Okay, and this midway point is our alert to get out. Alright, okay, so let's take a look. Sometimes we need to think a little bit outside the box, use a bit of common sense with it, alright, but for the most part this does tell you when to get out of the trade, and these two lines at the top and the bottom tell you when to get in. Alright, so let's just take a look from this point, and we can see that the market went up, it went into overbought territory. Alright, so now we need to come in and get in at the point where the market breaks that top line, so it's right there. So let's put a horizontal line tool in. Alright, so here we go. Now we've just had a high right up the top here. Alright, it's got rejected. So we've had some other highs here as well which also got rejected, and we've had some here that's rejected. Now the reason why I'm saying that is because here we would normally essentially think that this is going to keep on coming down, but there are going to be some volatile movement on a big move like this. So normally when you see like a huge move like that, you will see some sporadic nature after it reaches its high. Alright, it's kind of consolidating before it's and then it kind of retests, and then if the market decides to say no, then it will drop. Otherwise, if the market retests again and it broke that high, then it's an indication it's going to keep on going up even higher. Alright, so when you get into a situation where you see some highs like this, you've got to say to yourself, okay, if I'm going to go in short here, where is my stop loss going to be? How much am I willing to risk? So here is around about, let's say for argument's sake, 150 pips in deficit. So if you're trading at say at one lot, which is equivalent to $10 per pip, and if you are fortunate enough to have 100 grand in your account, can you really risk $1,500? And looking at a $100,000 account, your maximum risk is only going to be about 1.5%. So that's within range. Alright, so that's probably acceptable. But when you get into something like 400 pips or 500 pips, you need to say to yourself, well, you know, is 5% what I really want to risk? Now, at at one trade lot size. But if it isn't, then you can basically lower your account lot size maybe to 0.5 to accommodate for that big movement. Alright, so be careful when you actually go ahead and apply these in. So that's when you want to do is calculate your risk to make sure that if it does go into deficit, that it's not going to completely wipe you out, and you'll have plenty of chance to replenish any losses. So with this, I would actually probably target my stop loss probably at the high of the previous high, okay, which is over here on the left hand side. It's always normally good to have your stop losses at the next previous high, or have your take profit set to the next, obviously the next take profit low or high, depending on where you're going. Alright, so this will probably be my target down here, okay, because there's a lot of congestion here. Alright, so here we go short, and we can see the market did go up a little bit and then eventually it just tanked. Alright, and a really good indication of when it's going to tank to try and get some, is round about here at 0.5. But again, you can get some sporadic nature of it going sideways, so it kind of can mess up your thought processes. But for the most part, I mean, you are really trading the right way, and just let the market play out. Try not to get too nervous. Alright, and then when it comes down and hits this middle line here, that could be one point at where you could actually close out the trade, but it gets to around about there, so you'll still be at around about break even. So you'll leave it and just let it carry on coming down for it to come below the 0.3 level, and once it comes below the 0.3 level, you can expect to get more out of it. Alright, because you're definitely in oversold territory. And then when it comes back up and hits the 0.5 level, you can then close out of that trade. So this one will have generated, if we got in there and we got out here, that would have generated 232 pips in 160 hours. Alright, let's see if we can find a buy. Well, there's a buy trade right here. Alright, and then we get out there. So we get in here and then we get out there, which will be for 65 pips. So that's not bad. But that's over a period of like 28 hours or so. Alright, let's take a look, see if we can find some other short trade possibilities. Here is another short trade right here. So we get in somewhere on this bar. Hang on, let's get this line up correctly. So, so it goes short right there. So we're on this bar, and then we get out when it hits that middle bar right there. So we would have actually made probably around about 88 pips. Now, when it hits this bar, again, use a bit of common sense. Say to yourself, well, okay, could this come down even more? Well, you don't really know. So the next thing you need to say to yourself, okay, well, what I would do is I'll bring my stop loss down to a point where I've actually got it to break even. So, like for instance, if I double click onto this live trade that I have open right now, you can see that the stop loss and the take profit columns are actually hashed out because I clicked on a different area of my open trade. If I click on over here, it's still hashed out. So what I want to do is come over to my stop loss and my take profit column and then click on that, and that allows me to modify my order. So we can see where I've actually bought the trade, and it was at 129.29.5. So I could come in and actually put in 129.95 in there, and leave my take profit open with just 000 in there. Alright, and just basically put this to break even. And now if I want to book in 50 pips, then I can calculate 50 pips from this bottom price, or I can just add 500 to that figure. Alright, so this 2 will then turn into a 7, and that will be where my stop loss would be. So 1.29795 would be my stop loss area. Click on the modify, and you can now see that my trade is now being booked in, and it's booked in 50 pips. Alright, and this is where I've actually got it in. So that's what you basically need to do when you're using this strategy. When it comes down to the 0.5 level, which is normally an indication to get out of the trade, if we got in here, which is on this green bar, it came down to this point here. Alright, now we want to say to ourselves, do we want to close this trade, or do we want to protect some of our profits like I just did here, and once you've made your decision, just let it ride. Alright, now when it does start to come down a little bit, you might want to, when it gets to this 0.3 level, you might want to book in some more pips. Alright, because when you've reached this 0.3 level and you've gone under it, what's imminent now is the trend reversal. Okay, and we do see a little one there, but eventually it didn't break the 0.5 level, it stayed under it, so therefore it's still going to continue its downtrend. And as soon as it breaks the 0.5 level, it's normally an indication that it's really trying to go long and go the other way. Alright, so I will leave you with this one. Now this particular strategy sets up for that demarker. I would prefer if you studied this for maybe a couple of days, no more than 3 days, before you move on to the next indicator. Alright, and then if you're having any questions during those 2 to 3 days while you're practicing, just let us know and we will get back to you. Alright, so until then, I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.